What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, just wanted to do another fun video for you. Content's dry, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're kind of just going with the flow here, trying to figure out some things. And just was looking through Colts Twitter the other day and just was thinking, what can I try to talk about? And shout out to Logan at Scony Colts on Twitter. He was doing a thing where favorite Colts player at each position. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I want to try that. I think I want to do that and see and kind of see what I can do, right? Like, I see if mine is any different to his. Maybe I'm a little bit more biased in certain ways when it comes to this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this and see how I do, and then I encourage you guys in the comments or when we post this video, if you see it on Twitter, and retweet it and post your own favorites, right? Tell me what your favorite player is at each position, right? So first of all, he's asked the quarterback, so I gotta go with the guy Peyton Manning. I gotta go with the sheriff. Gotta go with the GOAT. Peyton Manning is the guy that really helped me and my dad really fall in love with Colts football. So I feel like it's would be a disgrace any other way to say Peyton Manning, because I personally got to watch Peyton Manning. There might be some younger viewers here who maybe saw Peyton Manning on the last few years of his career, maybe didn't see much of him, and then maybe got to watch more of the Andrew Luck. And there's a few people that might have liked Andrew Luck more than Peyton Manning. At the end of the day, that's all fine. But for me personally, I'm sitting here saying that I think Peyton Manning was my favorite player to watch at the Colts quarterback position. For running back, it's a weird spot for me when it comes to the running backs, because the Indianapolis Colts have had so many great running backs in this organization, right? You talk about Marshall Faulk, right? You have Eric Dickerson before, he went to the Rams, right? And then talking about Edgerrin James, who's a Hall of Famer, right? Joseph Adai, who went after him, who was a stud for this team for a while. And then now you have Jonathan Taylor, who's now a stud for this team. I didn't get to watch much of Edgerrin James when I was growing up, so I can't really say that he's my favorite. I'd probably say my favorite right now, recency bias, is Jonathan Taylor, just because, I'm watching him in time right now. I'm more of a guy that is understanding the position now as I'm seeing it, and Jonathan Taylor is clearly the most impressive guy we have seen since Edgerrin James in a Colts uniform at the running back position. So that is another one that I really, really like. Wide receiver all-time favorite. I gotta go with Reggie Wayne. I love Marvin Harrison. Don't get me wrong, guys. And I really love T.Y. Hilton. But I do remember, being a guy that when I was younger, growing up and playing football outside, I wanted to be like Reggie Wayne. Had the amazing hands, great footwork, guy that was just always catching the ball. Didn't matter where he was going to hurt you, because he never dropped the football, and that was a guy that I wanted to be like. So Reggie Wayne definitely at wide receiver for me. Tight end has to be Dallas Clark. I mean, the GOAT of the Indianapolis Colts tight ends. Dallas Clark, one of the few guys in recent history that, did what he did as a tight end without gloves. So he did a lot of things that were, unprecedented. Like some of the stuff he would do, guys can't do that now without gloves. And he was just such a phenomenal athlete. Dallas Clark, gotta love it. And then we go to the offensive line, last offensive position here. I'm struggling with going back and forth here between Quentin Nelson and Jeff Saturday. I probably can't choose between the two of them, because I love Quentin Nelson now and what I'm seeing from him, and Quentin Nelson being as dominant as he is, right? But then, of course, I talk about Jeff Saturday, and Jeff Saturday was one of the guys that I truly, truly loved and I looked up to. And I saw a guy that, like, when I was playing football in high school and I became an offensive lineman, like, I remember watching Jeff Saturday play. I remember watching him and Peyton Manning have that connection. So, having those kinds of memories stick in your head is one of those things that I truly love. Defensive end, my favorite from the Indianapolis Colts, it has to be Dwight Freeney. Like, I love Robert Mathis. That is the dude. That is the GOAT of defensive linemen for the Indianapolis Colts. When you think of the embodiment of defensive lineman, Robert Mathis was it. But I'll just say, from what I used to watching Dwight Freeney and that unbelievable spin move to create plays like that, I mean, that would just leave me in shock sometimes, watching him perform that and sack QBs that way. So that was always something that I personally loved watching, was Dwight Freeney. So that was one of the first defensive football players that I ever fell in love with, was Dwight Freeney. So I got to go with that route. Defensive tackle, got to be DeForest Buckner. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts have never had a lot of great defensive tackles in its organization, and DeForest Buckner might be the greatest one. Linebacker. I love Gary Brackett. Gary Brackett is a guy that I have a lot of respect for. He's one of the most well-rounded guys that we've ever seen come in here. But my favorite has to be Shaq Leonard, because in his first 4 years, I've been telling people, his first 4 years of his career, I mean, that guy was putting up numbers that some of the all-time greats weren't even doing. Like, his tackle numbers he actually had more tackles than Brian Urlacher through 4 years, less than Ray Lewis, but had more than double the amount of turnovers that Urlacher and Ray Lewis had forced combined in their first 4 years. Like, literally, the two of them forced, I think, between Urlacher and Ray Lewis, forced about a dozen turnovers in a span of 4 years. Like, they were not guys that turned the ball over, forced a lot of turnovers. And Shaq Leonard is a different beast, man. I mean, he forces turnovers every other game, man. I mean, that was something I've grown to love Shaq Leonard in his game. Cornerback. Again, not a lot of great cornerbacks to really fall back on when you look at it. I mean, Vontae Davis might be the appropriate answer here, but I would say probably, like, my favorite to watch would have been Stephon Gilmore from this last year, because, I mean, Stephon Gilmore has just been a guy that, like, I could confidently say could guard anyone. I know he was only with us for one season, but that's how good it gets for the Indianapolis Colts and the defensive backs. Now, to the safety and free safety, I think almost everyone can agree on this group here. Antoine Bethea at free safety and Bob Sanders at strong safety. Loved those two. Bob Sanders made me fall in love with Colts football. I used to watch all of the highlight clips of, him just beating the brakes off of people. You got to love it when that happens. So, Bob Sanders definitely, and Antoine Bethea, who was the ball hawk, the guy that was like another kind of like Cam Chancellor kind of guy. So I love those two. And that's going to be my list, guys. Go ahead and send me your list. You can comment it down below in the comment section, or you can go on Logan's Twitter page and respond to his. But I greatly appreciate, guys, if you did. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us through this. I know that there's not a lot to talk about right now, but we greatly appreciate you guys spending time with us and doing this with us. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.